I spent $300 on an AEW wrestling show, and I'm going to show you where I'm sitting. What's up, wrestling fans? My name is Mikey, and this is Wrestling Knows Best, where I talk about the world of professional wrestling and link it to self development. And today's going to be a vlog style video where I'm just going to take you to an AEW show. You ready? Let's go. I'm a sucker for merch, so the first thing I do at a wrestling show is hit up a merch stand. Then I had to get a wristband because my seat was on the floor. I made it just in time to catch the last match of Ring of Honor. I kind of rushed to my seat and forgot to record myself getting to the seat, so I recorded it after the show. For $300, I got to sit in the second row, second seat from the aisle, right behind the timekeeper's area. And I had a great view. Inspiration put over my world in the main event of Ring of Honor. Then there was some time in between the two shows. There's Justin Roberts and Tony Schiavone. It was cool to hear Tony Khan address the crowd before and after Dynamite. The attendance was decent. We sold out the lower bowl, so about 8,000 people. The show started with Tony Schiavone introducing the contract signing between Kenny Omega and MJF, but was interrupted by fireworks. Then, Chris Jericho made his return to professional wrestling. It was a historic moment. There were reports that Jericho's contract with AEW expired at the end of 2025, and he was rumored to join WWE at the Royal Rumble. When that didn't happen, there were rumors that he would come out of the mystery crate at Elimination Chamber. Then, when that didn't happen, there were reports of him being involved at WrestleMania in some capacity. Well, all of those rumors were put to rest when he made his electric return to AEW on April 1st, 2026. And what better place for him to return than his hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. As great of an experience it was to be there for Chris Jericho's historic return, I was a little disappointed in the crowd reaction, and I think he was too. Don't get me wrong, the crowd reaction was good, but it wasn't great. Chris Jericho needed a great reaction in that moment, and I feel like the crowd came up just a bit short. Yes, we gave him a standing ovation for 5 minutes straight, but the pop was not deafening. I remember hearing a louder pop for Chris Jericho at a WWE house show in Winnipeg when he wrestled Jon Moxley, who wrestled as Dean Ambrose at the time, in the main event of that house show. I felt like I was one of the few people that was singing along to his theme song. I mean, 8,000 Winnipeggers in the Canada Life Center Arena, and more than half of the arena didn't know the words to Chris Jericho's theme song, Judas? I mean, come on! Chris Jericho's band Fozzy sings the song. For the amount of credibility Chris Jericho brings to the city of Winnipeg, I feel like the least we can do as Winnipeggers is learn the lyrics to his song. We also couldn't align on what chants we wanted to chant. At one point, half the crowd was chanting "Welcome Home," and the other half was chanting "Welcome Back." Regardless, Chris Jericho managed to aura farm for 5 minutes straight, and in the end, he really just needed to say 2 words. After Chris Jericho's historic return, MJF came out for the contract signing, followed by Winnipeg's own Kenny Omega. Shout out to my cousin Justin PDC for the awesome shot of Kenny Omega's entrance. Check out Justin's channel for wrestling and video game content. We do the occasional live watch along for wrestling shows. A highlight of Kenny's entrance was a sign that said, "I once beat Kenny Omega at Street Fighter," which got Kenny's attention. The two eventually signed the contract, and the match was set for AEW Dynasty on Sunday, April 12, 2026. There was an agreement that there would be no physical altercation during the contract signing, so as things were about to get physical, fellow Canadian Speedball Mike Bailey came to support Kenny Omega. This set up the main event of Dynamite, MJF versus Speedball Bailey. The next match was a men's trios match between The Demand, that's Ricochet and Gates of Agony, versus Brody King, Jack Perry, and Kenny Omega. The match was fast-paced and hard-hitting. It was quite the chaotic match. One of the members of Gates of Agony got sent through the Timekeeper's area, but in the end, the team of Brody King, Jack Perry, and Kenny Omega raised their hand in victory. Up next was the Bastard Pac versus Will Ospreay. Pac is part of the Death Riders faction, and it's cool how they enter through the crowd. I got a nice view of Pac walking to the ring. Will Ospreay came out to a big ovation, but Pac sneakily went around and attacked Ospreay from behind. Pac hit Ospreay with a brainbuster on the aisle, and it took the air out of the building. We weren't sure if Ospreay would continue with the match. Thankfully, Ospreay was able to fight through and continue, but Pac did not ease up. He continued to attack Will Ospreay. Check him out as Pac tosses Ospreay across the ring, literally across the ring from the top rope. Ospreay managed to get some offense in. He hit Pac with a Styles Clash, but Pac stayed on the offense, hitting Ospreay with the Black Arrow on Ospreay's back and transitioned smoothly into the Rings of Saturn. One of my all-time favorite submission moves, by the way. Ospreay almost broke the hold by getting to the ropes, but Pac pulled him away, and as they rolled around, Ospreay managed to pin Pac's shoulders for the win. The Death Riders weren't going to let that slide, and they rushed to the ring for a post-match beatdown. Claudio came out with a chair, and Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir followed shortly after. The Death Riders put the steel chair around Ospreay's neck and gave him a stern warning. Thankfully, the Death Riders didn't do serious damage, and they just left Ospreay in the ring with the serious message. Don Callis, another Winnipegger, came out to address the crowd, although he is a heel and stayed in his heel gimmick for the promo. The next match was the Women's Trios match, which featured the Triangle of Madness faction that consists of Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and AEW Women's Champion Tekla. Here's Tekla dancing to Mina Shirakawa's theme song as Ref Aubrey helps remove her belt. Mina tagged with the Brawling Birds team of Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. The women wrestled a great match with cool spots. In the end, the Brawling Birds with Mina picked up the victory. I was a little concerned with Sky Blue because she looked injured after the match. Hopefully she's okay. Darby Allin came out and cut a scathing promo in the best way he knows how.
Cut the music! Max, I told you I'm gonna hold that throttle until I see God for the AEW Championship. And I haven't seen God yet, so I'd like to see the devil tonight instead. So get your ass out here, Max!
The Don Callis family ended up coming out instead of MJF. Of course, they were showered with booze. The unlikely duo of Brody King and Jack Perry saved Darby Allin from getting a beatdown by the Don Callis family. Darby Allin has major history feuding with Brody King and Jack Perry in the past. Kenny Omega came out and broke the tension. Here's Kenny joyfully high-fiving fellow Winnipeggers as he makes his way to the announcer's desk for the main event. In typical heel fashion, MJF made his way to the ring donning the red, white, and blue, claiming to be an American hero, to which he received thunderous boos in Winnipeg, Canada. He even had a huge American flag that dropped during his entrance. Instead of stars, the flag had 52 MJF faces on it. Speedball Mike Bailey came out repping a Canada flag of his own. Side note, it was also interesting to see the crew take down the huge American MJF flag. As Speedball Bailey went to show off his men's trios championship, MJF attacked him from behind. But Speedball got his licks back. In fact, Speedball Bailey looked great during most of the match. Check out this backflip knee drop. He calls it the Ultima Weapon. He even held the pose after for good measure. Here's Speedball inflicting more damage with a kick and a Snapdragon suplex. And here's Bailey with another Ultima Weapon, this time off the second rope. And he gets the 1, 2, MJF gets his foot on the rope to break the count. Later on, MJF hits Speedball with a tombstone on the apron and then sets him up for the Heat Seeker, pile driving Bayley back into the ring for the 1, 2, 3. And still your AEW World Champion, MJF. And there's Justin Roberts doing double duty, announcing and handing the belt to the ref. Here's just a cool shot of the performers in the ring and that big, beautiful belt. MJF celebrated his victory in the ring, but it wasn't enough. He had to give Speedball Bayley a post-match beatdown in typical heel fashion. To which Kenny Omega entered the ring to save his fellow Canadian. After helping Bayley up, Kenny raised his hand so he could be celebrated in his home country. It was interesting to see what happened after Dynamite went off the air as the crew transitioned the set over to Collision. Kenny Omega grabbed the mic and said his closing catchphrase.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any videos during Collision, but I managed to sneak a couple of pictures. Here's a couple, but I'll post the rest on my Instagram. After the show, I tried to get a pic with Speedball, but unfortunately he had to go, so I just took a picture with myself. Alright, so the show just finished. I'm so glad that I spent the money to go see the show. It was an amazing show, and the seats were awesome. I was a little disappointed that they didn't allow us to record during Collision, but I get it. It's a pre-tape show. They didn't want any spoilers getting out. Managed to sneak a couple pictures though, and by the time I post this, it will have already aired, so no spoilers. But it's overall, it was a great experience, and being so close to the action is just so awesome. That's not really something that you can do at every wrestling show. So in my opinion, it was definitely worth the money, and I'd definitely do it again.
But since Winnipeg is such a great sports town, there's only one sport that goes 52 weeks a year with no off season, no breaks, no weeks off: pro wrestling.
Yeah!
It's only possible because of great fans like you watching AEW on TSN.
Yeah!
And watching it here live when we come to your arena here in Winnipeg.
Yeah!
And it's also only possible because of the women and men in the back, in the truck, and around the ring right now. Winnipeg, let's give it up for the crew!
Yeah!